previously from a manic consciousness. No single person knows the subjective reality accurately. We comprehend subjective reality by representing it with concepts in our brains. Schema is how the concepts are organized and relate to one another. If we believe in a self-image or identity, our actions and thoughts will lead us to fit that mold. Besides ideals, humans also seek meaning, probably because of our never-ending desires. After fulfilling our desire for survival, we now want a purpose or a meaning in our lives. What's a high-maintenance species? So I suggest you break up if you are dating a human. Nihilism claims that life has no meaning. That is partially true. Nothing had meaning before we created all the concepts and schemata. In other words, meaning. We can define the change we experience that links moment to moment as a concept called time. We can create abstract concepts like society and self that have more meaning than their parts. So why can't we define the schema of our own life to include a meaning of life? Viktor Frankl said it best in his book Man's Search for Meaning. Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. With that mindset, he survived the concentration camp in World War II and later went on to reanimate a corpse on a dark, stormy night. The meaning of life has its purposes, to help us live life or even to give us a goal to strive for. I'll keep my meaning of life in mind the next time I'm painfully forced to leave my house. Existentialism asks us to create meaning for ourselves. We already created many concepts and their schemata, including the pointless reasons why we can't create meaning. This is like when a kid asks why his mom is posting everything they do to Instagram and the mom replies, "Because I said so." Truly a model parent. Oh, I forgot the slash. Yes, we live on a planet that is so small even to our galaxy and no one will remember us after a million years. But that's just survival of the fittest brainwashing us to obsess over comparison. No one said that being insignificant would prevent us from creating meaning. Yes, our destiny and fate are set in stone by our genetics and life experiences. But we are still involved in writing our own stories and don't even know the future. If you want the universe to give you meaning, congrats, you are part of the universe. We can also live without meaning and take life less seriously. That is what I told the judge during my trial for downloading a car. Obviously, I was released without charges. The feel that a life without meaning is not worth living is also something we made up. No one can deny our choice to have or not have a meaning in life, just as no one can deny the overflowing humbleness I observe in myself. Creating or finding meaning is easier said than done, because first we have to convince ourselves emotionally that the meaning is worth our lives. Whatever we choose, our meaning of life is important enough that we might hurt others to protect it, so we should be aware of its power over us. Some people are against treating religion as a meaning of life because of the validity of religion. By some people, I mean r/atheism or those who use atheist and intellectual in the same sentence. The question of whether a religious belief is valid or not is actually composed of smaller questions. Whether religious stories really happened in the past, like if Judas reported Jesus as the impostor, whether the higher being or beings endorse the values promoted by the religion, like whether cheating on my wife is a sin when both girls are from my imagination, whether religious practices please the higher being or beings, whether those beings can influence factors that are usually out of our control. Like would prayer help me finally get a match on Tinder without the annoying step of making a profile? Whether there is an afterlife and what kind of afterlife it is. Hopefully, I won't skip the back pains that my future self will definitely have. Thanks for saying that, bud. No problem, now give me the lottery numbers. We can define the uncontrollable forces of the universe as a god or gods, similar to how we define the attraction of Mars as gravity and the subtraction of Mars as my New Year resolution. The real question isn't does any god exist, but what is a god? To say that no god exists is really to reject the schema of a god proposed by every religion. It depends on what you need the concept of a god or religion for. which is usually to foster community, maintain order, give hope, and grant meaning. If we think of religions as schemata filled with smaller components, it becomes clear why the evidence given by religions only seems to prove the power of copium. The validity of religion isn't all or nothing. So even if you prove or disprove one part of its schema, it doesn't automatically mean all other parts are also right or wrong. Luckily, we can ignore all these annoying thoughts because religion can fulfill its purpose regardless. There are limits to what science can prove, so you can believe in anything beyond that. But if you seriously believe in astrology, I will laugh because this is such a Pisces move. I believe in the higher being called everything, encompassing you, me, all of humanity, and the entire subjective reality. I believe the meaning of life is to create the best story out of my life, filled with plot and character development, but without a flashy fight scene most of the time. In other words, to actively try new things and improve myself. Suffering and conflicts are character development after all, I said reluctantly. Here, that's the internal conflict for today. Yup, it's easier said than done to live according to a belief. Anyway, the goal is not to start drama and cause pain intentionally, but to live an eventful life by seeking challenges and obstacles to overcome and learn from. Ideals and the meaning of life can motivate us, but they also tempt us to simplify the world with assumptions and biases. We need the concepts of truth and lie to pick out relevant information. When we determine whether a statement is true or false, we verify it with a standard, usually whether it matches the subjective reality. The truth is, I saved kids from poverty after donating $1 to the Ronald McDonald House charities. Needless to say, that is only a partial truth because that dollar is from Monopoly. Extremism and romanticizing happen when we believe partial truths or lies as the whole truth. Romanticizing is when we exaggerate one aspect of something over another, like focusing on the love over the violence and manipulation in abusive relationships. Believing everything is dark and evil also counts as romanticizing. In that case, altruism and other cooperative behaviors are downplayed. Did you hear that, kid? Humans help each other too. Can you leave? The whole truth is confusing, with many factors in play and many perspectives to consider. So some people choose to hyper-focus on one part of the truth and fall into extremism. So yeah, I just described certain forms of terrorism and a midlife crisis. We can't know everything in the subjective reality, so we can't know the so-called whole truth. We should still seek more truth to understand our current situations better and think of better actions to take. Believing in lies or partial truths throws away the already little control we have over the outcome. That's why you shouldn't support non-canonical ships. Instead, we should seek balance. The word balance represents multiple concepts, with one referring to an even distribution of weight, but the other concept doesn't also mean an even distribution. It makes no sense to say that work-life balance means being in work mode for exactly half of my day and engaging in my personal life for the other half of my day, because I don't have nearly enough personal life to spend half a day on. The other concept of balance actually means not favoring a single part of reality over the other. Our own perspective is limited, so seeking the perspective of others, especially those who are different from us, is how we see more parts of reality. That's all 3 parts of the video. I'll compile them together with a conclusion soon. Bye!